Well, when I was a little boy, 3 years old actually, I lived in Greece for a year. Well, my whole family did. My dad had been given a sabbatical. He was a high school math teacher, and he said to my mom, "Let's do this while we're young." My older brother was 7, and I was about to turn 3 in August of 1967. My birthday's in September, and at some point, my mother put me in school. I mean, I'm still learning to speak, period. So this way I could learn to speak the language natively. And I wasn't in nursery school per se. I was with other kids who were close to my age. Some were a little bit older. But that's kind of how things worked over there, at least back then. And, European kids are real good about, I've noticed, it certainly was that way in the backyard of our apartment building where, the older kids knew how to kind of delegate and take care of the younger kids. So, I don't know, when you're 3, the world is a groove anyway. So, anyway, one day though, I came home from school having learned a song in English. And I remember this because it was, we were all excited that Miss Pauline, had us sing into a tape recorder, a big, chunky old 1960s reel-to-reel recorder that, you'd see in a classroom maybe. And so we all got around the magnetofono, as it was called in Greek, and we sang the song that she had taught us in English. Well, this was very exciting. Probably my first record ever. In fact, definitely the first recording I ever made. In any case, I came home singing this song with the thickest Greek accent this side of the Atlantic. And, my mother patiently listened as I belted out, "Did you ever see a lassie go this way and that way and that way and this way?" And, I'm going to be 61 years old next month. But I can tell you right now where my mother was standing, where I was standing, what she was wearing, and I can still feel the frustration as my mother said to me, "Honey, that's beautiful, but we speak English in this house." And I understood what she meant, but what she wasn't getting was that the teacher said, that's how this song goes. That's how this song is supposed to sound. I get that I speak English, but this song goes, "Do you ever see a lassie go this way?" And I was so frustrated and so angry, and I think my mother just let it go at some point. What's this got to do with being a woodwind doubler? Well, really, for anybody who freelances, when you go into a new situation, you kind of assess what's going on around you. Maybe you're, part of a section, and we all come from different schools of thought, different training on all the various instruments. And we'd play some better than others, perhaps, depending on the stage of our development. Ultimately, of course, somebody shouldn't be able to tell which is your principal, but we'll get into that another time. Point being, there's a point where you can try to compromise. There's a point where you could try to lead. Now, if you're playing a principal part, of course, you should be setting the tone, or people should be following you. But we have to find various ways to make things work, and there's certain things you have to just let go, as my mother did. Ultimately, the goal is for all of you to work together and sound good together, as if you've always been playing together. No matter your different, make all those different philosophies mesh into a cohesive whole. And there are times you stand your ground. There are times where you lead. There are times you're going to have to follow, even if you don't want to, in terms of what you decided to do to make something work. And so it's very much like my mother just deciding to let me sing "Did You Ever See a Lassie" as if I had just learned to speak, just taken my first English class, even though it was my first language. So what do you do when you're freelancing? What happens? What's your approach? How do you go about making it work? I'd love to hear that discussion and hear your thoughts on this. It's because it's an important part of what we do. See you in the next one.